here to do my dirty work for KGB. Oh, I might be having technical grief. Hopefully I'm not. Anyways, I have to do the notes for this game that I lost. I might do a vid at some point about this terrible, terrible game. And I don't even know how long I have here. Bruce is going to come on at some point for his kids show, his morning kids show. So I can't use any profanity coming up to that show. No profanity, Cry. No profanity. Even if you think KGB is going to yell at you, buddy. All right, let's see what we can do. This is a terrible game I lost. This is round 3. And I'm upset with myself on a variety of levels for losing this game. And definitely when you think back on my terrible, terrible tournament where I stunk up the dojo, this was like a big part of it. Okay, first things first, I was black. All right, computer, you need to stop messing about here, buddy. The computer sometimes, my monitor, sometimes it gets really angry. Apex Cuddler, how you doing, buddy? Okay, so let me show you this game. I'm playing this guy, I can't pronounce his name. I'm not going to get it, dude. Chinese player, 2,600 plus FIDE. Definitely a strong opponent. Played some nice moves. In any case, let's get this party started here. A3. It's funny, I have a student who is, who's, 1,600 or so, and he doesn't know any opening theory. We've just been working together on principles, and since he knew my chess principles, he was very offended by the move A3. And I have to admit, even myself, when the first time I saw A3, I was like, that can't be a great move. But of course, this is one of the most played moves in the position. Kasparov made this popular. And I had, on this stream, me and Eugene Perlstein worked out a little bit the move I played in the game, D5. So in a certain sense, I had the jump in terms of opening prep, if you will. But now here's the thing about this guy. He played in a lot of ways like KGB wants me to play, which is he did not think at all on moves that weren't tactical. And KGB wants me to just play. This guy was playing very fast, dude. Very fast. In fact, so one of the things I have to do today is I have to painstakingly write in my notes that I did here. And I'm terrible at doing it. I'm terrible at looking at the game with the computer. So me doing this in a publicly humiliating fashion is my way of doing it. Who's KGB? It's not what's KGB. KGB is my coach, buddy. KGB is my coach. One interesting thing, actually I want to put out there, it's a great new Perpetual Chess podcast with another student of mine, James Altucher, who's around 2,200. And he said this great thing, that to improve at anything, you need a plus, a minus, and an equal. So like someone that's better than you, like a coach, some kind of equal person, somebody you could training partner, you could say, and somebody worse than you. So somebody that you have to explain yourself to, your ideas to. Very powerful idea. And one of the fascinating things about my life is I've just been too poor for most of my life to have a coach. And I was so poor that even now paying a coach feels a little strange. But anyways, KGB is my coach. And KGB wants me to play like this guy, just banging it out. Now, is this a good move? I think it's controversial because A3, the point of A3 is to limit my bishop on F8, but now my bishop on F8 gets to do something. Now, how bad could it be? That's another whole interesting question. Okay. KGB is definitely Russian, yeah. Hey, Sabro, how you doing, buddy? All right, here we go. So we got E3. Guy's playing super fast. In fact, I'm going to write this in the notes here. And I'm going to try to write in all the times. So 2:03, that means with a 30, we start off with 2 minutes, and with this 30-second increment, he's basically playing blitz mode here. Castles, bishop d3, and now I take my first think and I play that's an interesting move. I don't think it's bad. Anyways, I played h6. So, now, let's say the obvious. I could have also played knight e4. And in some ways, I feel like that would have been the safe and conventional move. We're going to look at the database in a second. But I'm going to claim that knight e4 is equal. That's just my claim. Am I right on that? I'm going to claim that. Sombrero, I have real problems with the glasses, dude. I ended up having major issues with some of the glasses, and I don't think it had anything to do with the blue light, but just because I was freaked out that maybe it was the blue light that was giving me grief, I told them to make these new glasses without the blue light. So these are just new glasses where they're old man glasses, Sombrero. Like when you're an old man, you gotta have like close-up glasses, you know? And so these are my close-up glasses. Let's do this, my friends, while we're talking. Let's look in the reference database. Always interesting to see what kinds of games were played here and who played what. So we got a couple of people playing h6. So h6, definitely the not so common move. c5, knight e4, and actually knight bd7, the most common. Knight bd7, of course, you're still holding knight e4 in your pocket, so it doesn't really change that much. Okay, so let's keep going. h6. Let me explain. I'm going to try to explain myself. So the guy has three choices now. If he plays bishop h4, I'm going to claim that h6 was valuable because of knight e4. And furthermore, I'm going to say bishop h4 is what I would have considered the standard move. And indeed, that's what we get here, bishop h4. I do also think that bishop takes f6 is possible, but probably not so great. So let's go through here his options. So he played bishop f4 quickly, just like KGB tells me. It's like, dude, you got to play the intuitive moves quickly. And he plays it basically instantly, dude, instantly. Very interesting that he played it so fast. I would have definitely thought about it forever. Now, KGB tells me I can think for like up to 5 minutes on an intuitive move, but then you got to force yourself to move. Apex, trifocals, dude, yeah. Well, so what I got, Apex, is I got these close-up glasses that I use hopefully for the computer, and then I got like some distance glasses when I leave the house. So I'm just trying to leave like the close-up glasses next to the computer. They still hurt me. They hurt me a little bit. So I'm trying to claim that I'm getting used to them, but we're gonna see. All right, so bishop f4. So I'm gonna say a couple notes for KGB. I'm gonna say this, yeah. I'm gonna say this is equal. And I'm gonna say that I'm gonna call this move standard. I would have called that the traditional move. Traditional move. And then I'm going to say knight e4 equal. Now, the question about h6, how big of a deal is it for me? Like, do I achieve a lot by doing h6? And I think one of the interesting things about this is, even though I don't think h6 was a bad move, it's still controversial because, like, later we're going to see if the guy ever gets the knight to f5, it's like, holy moly, I'm in trouble. No, Perelstein isn't KGB, dude. Okay. So, KGB didn't want to be named. That's one of the reasons they call him KGB. So, I don't actually think he would like being called KGB. I'm worried he's going to find out and then be upset about it. Okay, so here we go. Bishop f4. And I'll explain myself. I thought I was being very clever because on bishop f4, I have knight 8 d7, and it feels to me like he needs to give me a tempo now with h3. Now let's talk about this for a second. So if he does not give me the tempo and say castles, then here. Now maybe the guy can go here. And maybe I don't want to take on e5 because DE, and then my knight on h5 is out to dry. However, worst case scenario, I could do that. And now I'm threatening to take on e5. So maybe this would be like a repetition. In fact, that might be like, a reasonable repetition. I don't see anything better for white anyways. Now, h3 is obviously controversial because he's giving me time. And of course, I'm a time fiend, as many of you here know. And so I was already happy with this position. And in fact, now too, I'm happy with this position. I think this is great. I'm up 2 tempi, and the only problem I have, okay, let's write this for KGB. It's also for myself. I was happy here, up 2 tempi, and only have to solve the problem of my queen. So let's go over here and put bishop f4. Let's give him a funky move mark there. And let's also give him a funky move mark here. When me and Eugene did some training games, by the way, he played g3. We're going to call that the normal move. Let's go ahead, the standard move. Okay. So here I have a choice, but I played knight e4 kind of quickly. And I'm not really upset with myself there. I think that's okay. After the game, I kind of doubted it a little bit, doubted myself, Yeah. So one other option could have been c5, castles, a6. And what I gotta say about that, though, is at any moment, I'm worried about knight h4 to f5. Now, you could say to yourself, cry, it's not a big deal right now because you got knight h4, g5. But you can tell, maybe knight f5 still happens. So I have to make sure on every move that knight h4 is not possible for the guy. So it's kind of a tricky, so I like knight e4 better. But I'm going to say this was counterplay. Knight e4, I still like it fine. Castles, c5. I was okay with that. Again, castles, he's blitzing, dude. Blitzing with the castles. And I played c5 quickly. So I think KGB is okay with my time usage so far. I'm going to talk to him on Monday about this game. So, you know what? I guess you guys can see the notes, but maybe I should make it bigger. I don't really have There's probably some way to layer it or some fanciness, man. Anyways, I would do more, but I don't even have that much time because Bruce is coming on a little bit. So let's just keep going for a second. Now, Queen E2, I thought after this, I didn't know what he was supposed to do. So I'm going to say Rook C1 would be the more conventional way to go here. And I think Queen E2 is a funky move, so I'm going to give funky move mark, maybe even dubious move mark. And he played it instantly, almost instantly. That's controversial. That's controversial. Now, KG, one of the things about openings is really interesting, especially with white, is this guy doesn't care, dude. He just wants to play a position, be ahead on the clock, and then as long as he makes, I think, this is like KGB's philosophy, the way this guy's playing. Stay ahead on the clock, make normal moves, and don't think forever on the intuitive moves. Now, that kind of thing can backfire, and so I already thought I was better here, though I ended up talking myself down. I'm about to make the move I'm really upset about. Now, I'm going to say that Rook C1 feels normal to me. Yeah, that feels normal to me. But I still like my position. No doubt. No doubt, I love my position. Like Rook C8 I'm going to play. What has he got? Very hard to say. Okay, but let's focus in on what happened here. Queen E2. I thought for a while, KGB isn't going to like me here, man. Well, okay, here's the thing. This all goes back to H6. I played CD, which is, I think, is the correct move, but I think already my mind was weaning out on me here. So I've used up like a half an hour. He, of course, instantly takes back knight e4, and here's the moment of truth. Oh, I'm really sad with myself here. So at this point, I start getting upset about knight f5. In fact, I should write this. At this point, I was, let's call it hyper concerned about knight f5. In fact, let's say I became hyper concerned. By the way, this is just like me writing down the takeaways from my epic analysis. I did many, many pages on this game and spent a lot of time on the following variations. Okay, first let me show you the weenie move that I did. Bishop g5, terrible move. Really ashamed of it. And the fact that I didn't take too long here, okay, let's write that. The fact that I didn't take too long here shows that I had already decided on it when playing CD. Okay, so KGB wants me to identify the places where calculation needs to happen. And this is really actually one of them. I think we're going to talk to him. Now, positionally, the problem is going to become in this game, it's very interesting how I get sucked into it, is that we're going to get a good knight versus bad bishop situation, my bad bishop being the bishop on b7. And that guy's terribleness is going to be highlighted by my own good bishop on e7 getting traded off. Oh, it's terrible. Let's add more to this note here. That fear overcame my positional sensibilities. Namely, dude, don't trade your good bishop, especially in an IQP situation. Oh, terrible, man. Okay, so let's first show the terror. So I became terrorized by the following variation. Now, I'm going to go ahead and claim, just based on my analysis, that this is better for black. And the variation I became consumed with was this. In fact, let's write that. This was the variation I became consumed with. Seemed too frightening. And it might be insane. This truly might be insane. So here comes the variation that I looked at after the game. At BD, this is a cherry blossom game, but Cherry Hill sounds kind of fun too. Queen G4, check to the miserable king. Bishop G5, check to the miserable king. King G7, check to the miserable king. King F6, F4, Rook D3, FG. This just doesn't look good, buddy. Now here I can play King G6. All these variations, you could tell yourself, oh, maybe I'm surviving. And I can also, I think, force the following difference. So King H8. I don't know about King H8, dog. So in addition to Knight F7, he's got Queen H5. This one. Which the computer might tell me I'm alive here, dude. But I don't like it. Seems scary. Now, before we go deep onto this, before we ask the computer, there's just a much simpler way of dealing with it. First of all, do you want to take on C3? Yes, you do, because the pawn's weak. Now, are you afraid of Knight F5? You should be, but now Bishop G5, totally different position. Bishop G5, and then I'm sure what I missed was this great variation. Knight D6 seems like a bummer at first, but then boom, 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 exclam. Clearly better for black. So, Bishop F4, Knight B7, Queen C7. Let's call that slightly better for black. So Bishop G5, the claim is that I am defanging his position. And if something like Bishop H2, then Rook C3 is truly just fine. Oh, man. Shivam, nice to see you, buddy. Okay, good point. Good point. Actually, we have a good point here. Queen c7. If ef, if queen b7, he has bishop a6. The good news for me, though, is I could play boom. I'm glad you brought that up, though. Right? And then I'm still doing great. Right? Seems like it. Yeah. But that's a good thing to bear witness to. Yeah. So let me just try to put this critical moment into my head here. So first of all, with bishop g5, I didn't appreciate the positional danger that was awaiting me for trading off my good bishop because I was consumed with this knight f5 fear. Okay, in fact, let's put another note here. And let's say an example where the threat knight f5 takes h6 was greater than the execution. Bummer. Now, here's the thing. After this, it's not like I think I'm still equal, but I'm sliding. After knight takes c3, this position, I really do believe black's a little touch better. I'm not winning the game or anything, but I've come out of the opening with a righteous little niggle. Is that what, I bet KGB is just going to say, no, this is equal. And maybe it is, but I'd rather be black. KGB doesn't like it when I say better. He's like, you can say more comfortable, but you can't say better. He doesn't like it. High casual player. All right, we are going over my third round against, it's hard to pronounce, Zhu Shanzhou. I can't say it. I know those things are like sha. This sha sounds that the Westerners can't make. Okay, so bishop g5, terrible move. Bishop g5, again, he's playing very quickly. And this one makes sense. I can understand that you'd do this quickly. I was thinking, you can see my psychology here, right? I'm like, let's write it out, in fact. Happy in a superficial way to be touching the f5 square and dreaming about g2. Also dreaming that my Q is developed on g5. Okay, here we go. All right. Rook ac1. He's playing instantly, dude. Instantly. Okay. Now, here's the interesting situation. It is truly on my next move, which is the most natural move ever, that things go bad. They officially go bad. Here I am still okay, but I would need to definitely dig deep. Dig deep for, to realize what I'd have to do here. And also to recognize the conceivable dangers. And where I was like almost like I was doing a thing. Oh, shoot. Yeah, I make a bad one here, my friends. Basically, I played knight dc5. And I'm going to say a really terrible positional move. I played it pretty quickly, too. A terrible positional move, even if it seems to be so natural. Dude. In an IQP, it's all about the dark squares around the pawn. So the LSB, light square bishop, is of no value, bro. Dang. And I knew this well from my French variation. I'm going to show you guys that in a second. First, we're going to say question mark. And I'll show you guys this French variation here. Whew. Right. Where we want to play bishop g4 to take the knight on f3, and okay, let me just write it out. The comparable position, white does not mind exchanging his LSB. And our LSB is much worse than our dark square bishop. Without our dark square bishop, we are toast. Oh, my friends. Oh, my friends. Okay, let me see if I can fix this. My silly monitor. I just need to get a new monitor, my friends. It's really a drag. Stupid monitor. All kinds of grief with my stupid monitor. Okay. Now it's giving me grief again. Now I can't see the chat, dude. This is a drag. Okay, I've got it to work again, my friends. As far as I know, the branch to branch show is going to start in 30 minutes. Less than 30 minutes at this point. Which dark squares around IQP exactly? Good question. I need to buy a new monitor, Chess Talk. That's what I need to do. I need to buy a new monitor. This guy's been giving me grief for a long time. But yeah, am I too lazy? But I don't know what it is. I just need to do it. In fact, let's write it on your to-do list, Cry. Buy new monitor, you fool. There it is. It's written on my to-do list. The dark squares around, we're talking about d4, c5, and e5 in particular. Those are the ones we're talking about. So here we go. Bishop g5, snip, snip here, and it's the next move that really sends me, because I play knight dc5, and dude understands, and he says, trade it, dude. Trade it. Exclam. Simple move. And he's not thinking really at all on it either. And now I'm either slightly worse or I'm clearly worse. And it's very instructive what's happening next. The bishop on b7 is a real misery. What's up, Sazely? Sazazly. That's hard, man. Don't put a name that I can't pronounce. Yeah, so very interesting and technical position where I still wanted to believe that I was okay here. In fact, I'm in significant grief. And I analyzed this with a student of mine. And, you know, to both of us at first, it would still seem like, maybe we're still fine as black, you know? But no, it's pretty hard. It's pretty hard at this point. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to tentatively give it a clear advantage for white. A6, I think, was a very nice move. I would have had to have dug deep, I think, to find it. Here's a nice variation for, so the idea is we just control b5, and we're gonna say that I'm clogging the space in the center still so that I have counterplay. I'm gonna claim counterplay here. So for example, this is a nice variation, knight a4 here, and then if takes bc, I'm fine. Totally fine, maybe better than fine. And if knight b6, I got bang, 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 more than fine. So yeah, it's an this would have put some interesting questions to white. Yeah, I think we're doing fine after a simple move like that. It's just so. Whew. Okay, let's make an obvious move for him. And then I think I wanted to do this simplistic move here. With the IQP, bro, do not exchange your junks. Do not exchange your junks, please. Please don't do it. Okay, yeah, so I spent some time on this position. Seems like I'm fine. All right, b4 exclam, knight d3, queen d3. I might be willing to take that down to just slightly better, but it's a hard life, man. All right, several moves possible for black here. I played a5, which is, in hindsight, probably wrong. And we're gonna say that's frisky. It's frisky. And you can tell, by the way, actually, I need to write the times in for the other moves. Frisky. You can tell I was intending this because knight d3 I played after thinking for 9 minutes. It was my favorite in Euro 2020, man. I thought Belgium, dude. I thought Belgium was the best team. I was saddened to see them lose yesterday. And I guess they lost fair and square. But I really, dude, De Bruyne, man, that guy's amazing. He's my favorite player to watch, I think. Probably the best player, maybe the best player playing right now, in terms of like a player who brings the game together for a team. I think he's getting a little older now, too. So now, dude, maybe England. We'll see today. They definitely are. They're in pole position right now, man. England has got to be the favorites right now. Okay, I'm going to talk about this here. It doesn't seem as if we're doing that bad, but check it out. Rook AC8, Knight F3, exclam. If Queen F6, Knight D5, Bishop D5, Rook C8, exclam. And this is a clear advantage. If Queen D5, Rook, Queen B2, that's counterplay. And yeah, that's counterplay. So, it's already a really bad sign that Rook AC8 doesn't work. And this Knight F3 is a major, I was going to say a drama potato. That doesn't make any sense. It's a major drama potato. And then also Queen H5. The amazing bummer here now is Knight E2, exclam. And Knight F4 is coming. I better get my notes out. I had a couple. Actually, before you get your notes out, Craig, just try to remember. Just try to remember what it was you were doing. Yeah, England's got it coming. But, you know, England, I don't know. It's hard to believe in England, buddy. If they need to look convincing today against the Ukraine. What an amazing pairing, dude. That's like that's truly getting paired down. Okay, my friends, I had some other notions here. What about Queen? Oh shoot! I gotta plug in or die. It's plug in or die, my friends. Plug in or die. Whenever you've run in chess space, even without the computer, it'll just take up all your energy. About real football. Well, I'll tell you something interesting about me and football. I just realized this in the last couple of days. I was thinking about it, and I got into football honestly doing tournaments like this and the Euro Cup, right? Like I lived in Europe for a while, and that's how I got into it. And then only recently did I really dive deep into, club soccer, because I was following Pulisic. And I realized I had an epiphany last night. I was like, oh, dude, Chelsea or Manchester City, they would slay these teams. They would slay these teams. Not only are they much more talented in terms of position by position, but they're just working together all the time. So like when you look at Germany and the mistakes they made in the back line, you're like, oh no, dude, at the club level, no. Those mistakes wouldn't happen. And also on the offense, like people knowing where their dudes are. These guys are just thrown together at the national team level. They don't have deep experience playing with each other. So it's almost like, the Euro's fun and everything, but compared to the level, it's kind of like you're like weak GMs compared to super GMs, man. Arminia Bielefeld. No, I wasn't too into it when I was in Germany, man. I wasn't too into it. Okay, I was into the World Cup, man, and the Euros. I was into it. I was into that when I was back then. But Arminia Bielefeld, no, I wasn't into it, man. Okay, here we go. A5, here's an interesting thing. I don't even know if I should ask the computer, but do I have a different way to play this position? This variation, by the way, is totally critical. It seems like Queen F6 is going to save the day. But bam, that's a critical variation, man. It ruins everything. If I could get away with that, this whole thing might not be so terrible. Yeah, this is drama, dude. Okay, I don't know. So A5, I'm giving a funky move mark, but I still don't really have an answer here. I'm trying to remember this variation here. One variation I was looking at actually was this is just correct here. Queen H5, if Rook FD1, here's a fun variation. Boom, boom. I was very happy with this variation. D4, ED, snippos, 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 snippos. Rook C8, exclam. So I'm threatening Rook C3. D5, King F8, D6. And I just got to, or else I'm going to get in there with my king blockading the pawn. Rook D8, and I'm calling this equal. Because my king will come talk to them. Well, I'm going to go take that pawn. My king's going to become the blockader of the pawn. So, yeah, that's a key. I love that variation. I thought that was a very interesting variation just in terms of understanding where the debilitated pawns by white will hurt him, and my own king coming to the blockading square will save myself. Huh, interesting. I'll go with that. Yeah, Agstein was amazing. Okay, so A5, frisky. I don't know, like I said, I don't know what else I'm supposed to do. Did I put in Queen F6? Let's put in Queen F6 for a second. Here, there's multiple problems. For example, Knight F3, here. But this isn't maybe so special. Hold on, Cry. Let's make sure you understand. First, boom, boom, and then Knight D5. So Queen F6. what I guess he could do, if nothing else, is play this very simplistic, boom. That's definitely clear advantage. Arguably lost, but, definitely, yeah. KGB doesn't like it when I say lost, so I gotta say clear advantage. All right. Okay, I just got confirmation that Proust is doing his normal branch-to-branch thing at top of the hour. So I'm gonna get off here in just a second. I'll show you guys what happened here. A5, cool as a cucumber. This guy plays rook FD1. This guy played amazing, dude. Look at this time. Look at this time. Nothing. And here, honestly, I'll just be straight up, dude. I didn't understand. Maybe around here, I was like, oh, maybe I'm in trouble, But it didn't really sink in. The fact that and this fact of my dark square bishop, even though I feel like I normally feel like I have the experience to know that kind of thing, I was relying on my knight on e4 to save my life. And the knight on e4, bishop on b7 is his helicopter parent, right? Hovering around the sun on e4, hoping that the sun gives him life. But there's not a lot of life in here, buddy. There's not enough juice. Okay, so I played rook fd8. And I'm going to give that a funky move, Mark, even though I don't think, because it's going to transpose. If I had seen the following variation, I would have done it. Namely, queen f6, check this out. Knight f3, rook a3, knight e4, takes exclam. Takes, and we're calling this counterplay or compensation. It would be a joy to get this position. I analyzed this some in my notebook and thought it was just fine for black. So, unfortunately though, queen f6, what the guy should do is play snip, snop, queen b5, and it seems for a moment like I'm getting enough play, but just rook c2, boss. And I'm in deep. And here you can see it. Look at it's like an endgame study. My bishop on b7 is toast. Is toast, dude. Now his next move is class, dude. Is it class? I don't know. Queen b5. I'm in trouble. Honestly, I think I'm in big trouble. Queen f6, knight e4, de. I still hadn't given up hope. But then just the simple rook a1. And I'm going to say, takes b7. That's what the old informator would have said. Takes b7. Yeah, big trouble. This was an a3 Nimzo, also called the Petrosian variation. So, rook ac8. It's a funky move, but I think I'm in trouble, man. Let's give it a dubious move, Mark, though. And let me show you his key move, and then I'll get out of here and let Bruce do it, and I'll finish these notes for KGB. By the way, I've been kind of under the weather recently. I'm just coming back, so that's why I didn't stream much. Didn't do that many videos, but I'm on the way back. I'm on the path back, dude. So we're gonna do dojo talks tomorrow night. That's probably when you'll see me next. Let me show you this move he did to me. It's very classy. By the way, first, probably, I guess, could have gone g6, rook snip, queen d7, rook a2, rook here. Here's a nice variation. I love this variation. Exclam. And then it's either clearly better or winning. You take your pick, because the rook on a2 is going to get flushed out of the second rank, and the white rook comes back into the action. The bishop on a8 is still toast. So rook a c8, boom. I had placed my hopes on this, and now very classy move, exclam. And the beauty you can see from this move, before I hand it over to Mr. Proust, is that he understands that my bishop is terrible long term. And so he just needs to prevent any garbage from me. On the surface, the reason it's a strong move is most people wouldn't so willingly depart with their beautiful rook. All right, everybody, I got to get out of here. Mr. Proust is going to be on in a second. I'll try to be on. I'm going to do a little bit more streaming soon. All right, everybody, hang around for Mr. Proust. He's coming on in 1 minute.